Me. Growing up, I was, called weird, and I struggled keeping friends, and I think mostly like that's where my mask started to develop, was when I didn't believe that the me that I was worthy or good enough or normal enough to have friends. And so I created versions. I became a chameleon. I prided myself for so long on being a chameleon because I was able to shapeshift and be friends with anybody. Do you know how exhausting that is? And was? Trying to keep up a front. Oh, I look back and I wore it with it was a badge that I prized myself on. Being able to get along with anybody in any room and to shapeshift. And I look back now and I think about it and I just feel exhausted and abandoned, abandoning myself because I didn't feel like I was good enough, worthy enough. Insert self loathing here. to be, to fit in, to be seen as something other than weird. I mean, realistically, that's what I rooted in my daughter before she passed, was I seen myself in her ability to play, her creativity, her her desire and need ultimately to make people laugh. And the reason why I put so much of my identity into being her mom is because being her mom gave me permission to be what I felt was myself, because she accepted me for all of it for the first time in my life, outside of a few beautiful friends and my family. I was able to be me. It was my favorite thing about being a mom, was being able to be seen so beautifully and purely and lovingly without needing to put a mask on, because it'd be exhausting to do that with, a child around all the time. People have been waiting for me to talk about what the journey has been like, and I put a lot of pressure on myself, and I think that's been the hardest thing about actually getting going, has been the pressure not to disappoint people. And then I get in my head and it's like, oh, I don't know what to write about. Well, you have to write about this, but I don't feel like writing about that. But if you don't write about that, then you're going to be letting people down because they want you to write about that. And granted, 97% of this is curated in my own mind, of the pressures that I've put on myself. And I can see that now. And maybe I'd always seen it. But I think the biggest thing was just using it as an excuse to not be vulnerable. Because I think there was a part of myself that, until I actually rooted into knowing who I am as a person and why I am, my why inside, without other people's perspective or opinions tainting that, until I really rooted into that, I think I didn't know how to put myself forward, because I didn't really know what that looked like for me. And I think the biggest thing was of being vulnerable is like tapping into that space where you've claimed so many masks, but you're terrified to put one of them back on. And I think that's the biggest thing, is just like being terrified of putting that mask on, but then now realizing I didn't have to. I can look at the mask like an artwork of different masks that I've created over the years of safety. I can look at them and appreciate them and remember that time without actually having to put it back on. And I think that was the hardest thing, because I didn't really know what was under the mask. And if you don't know what's under the mask, then it's hard to be able to disconnect between past and present. And so now that I know what the skin that I'm in feels like, the mask is just a mask. It's not this scary thing anymore. And I think that's the flow that I'm starting to find, and the energy I'm starting to really walk in, is my ability to discern that there's a difference. And I have the power to control what that looks like, which is like wonderful. You know, one thing since I've been down in Australia, I have noticed is that I keep getting a sore throat, but it's not like a sore throat. It's like my tonsils are sore, but I'm not sick. It's just my throat being sore. But what I'm realizing now is I think it's just my body's way of adjusting to finally finding my voice. It's because it feels like it's big and blocked, but I'm not really coughing up phlegm. It feels like it gets stuck sometimes, but then I just like huck it out and like and then it's fine. Um, but it just feels like there's a block, and that it's bigger. And then I realized it's like my body's way of adjusting to finding my own voice. And that's so empowering if you think about it. And if you think about the way that your body communicates with you, and if you really start tapping in and just really just listening to how your body communicates with you learn so much. And being curious, you don't necessarily have to label everything right away, but if you ask yourself, you know, what does yes feel like? What does no feel like? If you really just tap in and not judge what comes up, but just observe it, the communication is something that you don't need anything else. You don't need external validation because you're confirming it with yourself. I've started embracing that my creativity doesn't need to look like any particular thing. It can look like whatever I want it to feel like. And that's beautiful because I rid myself of the pressure to be performative. And I just embrace the beauty that comes from just flowing and not being perfect. I mean, even as I make this video, there's many times where I've stopped and stuttered and whatever. It doesn't need to be perfect. We can edit it later or just post it raw. What's the worst that can happen? Somebody unfollows you? It used to be, I used to watch how many followers I had and how many people didn't like things. Because then I would start using that, oh, somebody unfollowed. That must mean they didn't like it. Maybe I should tweak my next post. Maybe I should delete it. Oh, I didn't get as many likes as the other one. This one didn't go viral. I should just delete it. Nobody liked it. Why would I post something like that anyway? It's all just jibber jabber. Let it go. Do you like what you posted? I like talking, so that's just that. So if somebody doesn't like or resonate with what I'm saying right now, I mean, so be it, because at the end of the day, it only matters what I think about it. And that's okay. Because then I'm going to build the audience that resonates with who I am. And I will break the cyclical torment of putting masks on for other people. I hang them up on the wall to be observed, reflected upon. Maybe they rear their ugly heads some days, and maybe not so ugly. Maybe some of them are beautiful masks. And not like the Jim Carrey movie where it just like sucks to your face. It might have been how I used to operate, but that's not how I'm operating now. I will just observe it. Be like, why are you coming up right now? Okay, that makes sense. Back on the wall. You don't need to absorb it. Just let it go. It's fine. You'll be fine once you find yourself. And so when people ask me, how did you do it? Or when they say, I don't know how you got through it. The answer is I don't really know how I got through it myself, but what I do know is that I didn't have a choice. And when you don't have a choice, survival instinct kicks in and you just have to. And yeah, sure, maybe I had certain verbal skills that helped me get a certain outcome that maybe other people with different talents may not have gotten, but that doesn't mean I'm any less or more capable than they are, because they're going to be less or more capable in other areas than I am. And it's just like the comparison is a thief of joy. We just need to stop comparing ourselves to other people, and starting to, like, we just need to start asking ourselves, is this what I like? Do I like how I feel? Do I like how it looks? And if you're wanting something, if you see something that somebody else has, and you're like, I think I'd like that. Why? Ask yourself why. Dare to ask yourself why. Dare to be different. Dare to start over. And dare to be exactly what you feel inside of you that you want to be. Give yourself the grace to be perfectly imperfect. But that's just a soul traveler's perspective.